Now let's talk about the Mandalorian and Grogu. Now, at this point, we've been talking about the shows that came out so far. This will be the one movie review, since it does tie into what we're focusing on as a channel. Now, to be completely honest, I wasn't exactly hyped for this movie. I wasn't totally against it, having watched all three seasons of The Mandalorian. Seasons one and two were great, while season three not completely awful. It was a letdown. And before I critique this film, I do want to be fair. We have to acknowledge how much corporate Disney and corporate Lucasfilm meddled with this narrative. And so after season two, Din and Grogu were beautifully separated, but Disney decided to abruptly reunite them in the Book of Boba Fett spin-off series instead of letting that show breathe on its own. And so ironically, the best episodes of the Book of Boba Fett weren't even about Boba, it was about Din Djarin and Grogu. Now, with Iger pushing to put the Mandalorian brand on the big screen rather than streaming, it was quite a similar move that he made with Moana 2. It was supposed to be a Disney Plus TV series, then it turned into a movie, which made over, I think, $1 billion. He tries to replicate that with The Mandalorian and Grogu, but it does disrupt the show where Jon Favreau originally had like 4 or 5 seasons planned for Disney Plus. And so this movie really felt just like a compressed version of season four. Now, the plot for this film focuses on Din Djarin running jobs for the New Republic, specifically hunting down Imperial remnants. The narrative is split into two distinct arcs. The first arc centers around Din hunting a specific Imperial officer using information bartered from the Hutts. In exchange for the intel, Din agrees to a contract to bring in Jabba's son, Rotta. And the second arc kicks in when the Hutts inevitably betray Din and Grogu, shifting the spotlight heavily onto Grogu and what he must do to rescue Din Djarin. And pacing wise, it's pretty well executed. It definitely drags a bit in the middle when Din Djarin's unconscious and Grogu has to carry the momentum to help him recover. But once the film moves past that little hump, the pacing picks up significantly. So personally, there isn't any real character development for Din or Grogu here. If you're looking for deep character progression, you're better off sticking to the television seasons. That being said, the film does a great job of at least fleshing out Rotta the Hutt. It establishes that Rotta wants absolutely nothing to do with his family legacy. He actively chooses to fight and build his own reputation in this arena that he's battling in, completely rejecting his father's name and refusing to be known simply as the spoiled heir to a gangster crime syndicate. Now, visually, I think the film holds up well. The very beginning features some excellent John Wick-esque hand-to-hand choreography and weapons adapted perfectly to Mando's unique armor and fighting style. The CGI on Zeb Aurelios from Rebels looked great, and the CGI on Rotta the Hutt was pretty solid. I actually found the arena fight scenes to be highly creative, and I never thought the animators could take what is essentially a giant slug and give him a genuinely cool fighting stance and combat style. But outside of those creative flourishes, there isn't any groundbreaking visual feat that makes this an absolute must-see theatrical experience. I'll be honest. I really wish I could dissect some deeper thematic substance in this film, but truth be told, there isn't much beneath the surface here. It was great to see Mando's morality continue to evolve when it comes to bounty work. Technically, he has a binding contract with the Hutt twins to deliver Rotta, but when Rotta explains that his family will execute him because they view him as a direct threat to their control, Mando makes the decision to let him go. It's cool to see Din Djarin realize that not everything in this galaxy is going to be black and white. Sometimes you have to operate in the gray. And I don't have really an overwhelming amount of criticisms because this movie is clearly just 4 television episodes stitched together. You can explicitly tell where the commercial breaks and episode endings were originally meant to hit. My main issue is that the middle section drags on for about 20 minutes too long, while Grogu helps an unconscious Din Djarin. It is nice for the narrative, but it does kind of like hinder the pacing. And second, the dialogue is incredibly bland and generic. Even with a powerhouse actress like Sigourney Weaver. In the cast, her lines felt uninspiring. It sounded like she was just reading a generic script for a paycheck. And I wasn't necessarily a fan of the voice acting choice for Rotta. That's just personal. I can't give you a reason why. I just didn't like it. I would have infinitely preferred maybe he spoke traditional Huttese with subtitles rather than speaking plain English, but that's just also another personal preference. Also, I don't know if the audience really wants to watch a slug speak Huttese most of the film. Anyways, at the end of the day, this film isn't as bad as the critics made it to be, but it isn't great either. It's enjoyable. It's a harmless watch. Grogu brings plenty of his usual charm, and the inclusion of the Anzellians, it's the same species as Babu Frick from The Rise of Skywalker, provided some hilarious, cute comic relief. The movie really does lack a narrative substance, and it isn't inherently a bad thing, but if you're heading into the theater at this time of filming, expecting this to tie in heavily with Ahsoka or Dave Filoni crossover movie, you're going to leave disappointed. It's an enjoyable movie. I'm giving The Mandalorian a 7.5 out of 10. Hey, if you liked that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. Really helps with the channel.